Aloha. Welcome to Hibachi Talk. How you doing? So grab a chair, grab a towel, grab a libation, come up and sit down and join Andrew and myself. I'm Gordo, the tech czar, and here is my good old buddy Andrew, the security guy.
What's up, brother?
We're going to just talk about the fear of security again this week and some other stuff. We have a super guest today. We have Garret Yoshimi. He is the Vice President of Information Technology and the CIO for the University of Hawaii. So he's going to talk about the ins and outs of IT at the University of Hawaii. It's going to be really interesting.
A real IT guy, finally.
And he's the guy that came in and asked to fill David Lasner's shoes. Yeah, we all know David moved on up the
we got to get him on here sometime.
We got to get David on.
Right,
yeah. So David's moved up the corporate ladder. CIO goes all the way to the top. I hear he's a bargain too. So that's the other thing. That's the trouble. Is our CIOs, we sell ourselves cheap.
What was that? What was your acronym for?
Oh, CIO, career is over.
Career is over.
Yeah, that's about it. You're out of here. So anyway, so that's what's happening. And so great to have Garret. He's a longtime friend and been in the business about as long as I have.
It's going to be good.
I'm older than dirt.
Looking forward to talking with him.
So anyway, why don't we start off this week's show? We'll start with got one tech job. We've been flying a lot lately, so.
Okay, yeah, and we've uncovered a few things that worry us.
Uncovered a few things, but anyway, this is one of my favorites.
Is this a good one or a bad one?
Got one tech job. So how's this puppy?
Come on.
I'd be getting.
Is that how the motor stays on? Duct tape?
I want to be the guy that they called in maintenance. We have an engine problem. Can you come over and fix this for me?
And
you guys said, no problem. I got the duct tape. We're right there. I think I would get off the plane.
Yeah, if you're looking out the window already.
And see this and go, I think I'll
I
change
just developed the
planes
fear
and
of
airlines.
flying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, isn't that classic?
Wow.
It's just classic. Gotta love it.
Is that one mailed in, or did you?
I don't know how I got that one. That one
right.
could have got mailed in or whatever. I'm starting to get a few of them coming in, so they're piling up. So we got that's happened and so on. So we're going to talk about a little bit. You got some security stuff you want to talk a little bit more about and so on.
Sure.
And I can talk about my latest hack.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about your birthday.
Oh, let's not do that. Hear this voice? Hear how rough this sounds?
Gordo made 46 again this week.
Yeah, for the third time.
No worries.
So anyway, what's your security thing?
You want to talk about it?
You want to talk about it?
I do. Our team keeps encountering this situation, and I thought I'd put it out here, and hopefully some folks will pay attention. These camera setups have got to be completed, and if you're really not sure if your vendor's done this for you properly, or if you're doing it yourself, here's a couple of tips to help you get it right. First of all, passwords, strong passwords. We've got simple tools like Burp Suite that'll brute force weak passwords very quickly today. So make sure you do that. Also, turn HTTPS on to that web page that you're using. Generate a new set of keys. Most of the cameras today will allow you to do that. And then user management. You've got that admin set up, but make another user for the viewing privileges and let that user be connected to your recorders and for everything else. So don't use the admin and make that the only account that's doing everything on that device. Whitelist the inbound connections. The only inbound connection to that camera should be coming from the recorder, perhaps. If you're going to access it via some sort of a wireless device, like a mobile device for mobile viewing, then make sure you set up like a VPN tunnel and run it that way. Implement 802.1x, that's radius security. If your vendor doesn't know what that is, get another vendor. Sorry.
That's simple.
Firmware, update
First
the firmware.
question.
Yeah, update the firmware on these devices because a lot of them have been out and sitting around for a while, and the firmware update is going to contain a lot of the sort of security updates that probably a version of Linux on that camera that needs to be. There are a few that run Windows CE as well. Turn off all the services you're not going to use. UPnP's on there, Bonjour's on there, probably FTP. And if you're not going to be using those and you don't know what they are, turn them off. Turn off Wi-Fi. In fact, if you're using Wi-Fi cameras, you've been warned. Don't use them. I can't help you with that. They are too vulnerable to basically a Pawn Star type attack for faking that access point, taking that device off and putting it where I want it, and then coming in that way. That's
a big sell nowadays. So there's a lot of not a lot, but there's a fair number of companies right now on the web saying, come on in for a very inexpensive dollar amount. You can buy these 3 wireless cameras, these 3 wireless door accesses, and drop them in and pay us $10 a month, and we'll monitor it. It's
Drop Cam and all those guys. I mean, we've got it set up in the shop. It's just too easy to get in. So if you've got to use devices like that in your business, just don't connect them to anything else. Make sure that's a standalone system, and if you want to port it out so you can get mobile access to it, port it out on its own connection. Do not bridge it onto your corporate network or your business network. It's just not safe.
That's gonna happen, yeah.
I think I talked about VPN.
Yes, you did.
So definitely for remote connections. And on your corporate side, if you are, make sure you VLAN all those devices. Separate those from the network. Preferably still standalone for the security stuff if it can be. And then again, and here's the final thing, and this is such a simple thing that no one does. Configure the alerts on the device for tampering and for access and for monitoring. Check the syslog files frequently and look at the events. You know, it'll show you access attempts. It'll show you what type of connections have been tried and failed. If someone's trying to get in, crash reports, and all the parameters are there as well. So these devices, they're not set and forget, okay? Good cyber hygiene takes constant monitoring, and security devices are not exempt from that policy and that practice. So thanks. That's what I got.
That's good advice. Now, a lot of that is very technical, and for a lot of the layperson, it's going to be tough for them to go in and set all those settings up.
You're right.
So
play the video back to yourself over and over.
You're right. That's right. Play this back over and over again. And also, you can go to YouTube, and I can almost guarantee it. All you have to do is enter that in there, and there'll be a 9-year-old who's going to show you how to walk this
Then
through.
there's that. Yeah, there was I think I read a story of a 13-year-old that got into some cameras in the UK in the traffic system, just to show them that they could, using these tools right here. It's just all Kali Linux.
It's all simple to do.
It's all built and delivered, and how to do is all written for you.
So you've got the cameras things, and I remember we've had this conversation about cybersecurity, and the question is whether you've been hacked, and the question is you have been hacked, and you just don't know it. And I've told everybody, I mean, I've been in this business, and I've been hacked numerous times, but I've got protections in place. Well, I got another one. I got two for you. One happened yesterday, and this is the first one. I'll talk about the first one. I get a call from my insurance company yesterday. Mm-hmm. So, and they say to me, we're calling about your request to get a copy of your insurance card for one of the motorcycles you have that's in storage.
They want a copy of the card.
And someone called to have, I supposedly called to have a copy of that insurance card sent.
I see.
And I went, but they were calling to follow up and check with me because it didn't make sense.
Sure.
And sure enough, they checked. I said, not me. I haven't called. So that's the first one I've got now. And then maybe it's something new that's happening out there. Someone calling and
just
saying,
trying to gather information.
Because there's a lot of stuff on that card, a lot of stuff on that insurance card. So that's there. But then I got
that was yesterday.
That was yesterday. And then on Monday, I received this wonderful letter in the mail that I hope someone from the government, state of California, franchise tax board is watching, because I can't get through to anybody over there. They're loving the money. That's the loop of hell is when you get under that phone system in there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a live body at all. Anyway, I've never worked in California, never lived in California, never done a thing in California. Well, I now owe them $3,102 in taxes.
Maybe it's from flying through. Was that for your luggage?
So, according to the tax return I filed in 2011, okay, this is right here, I owe them $3,102. I have never filed a tax return in California. So I'm just telling people.
You think it's a similar name person, or is it?
I doubt it. There's only one, and it comes to my address here in Hawaii. So here it is. Here's the thing. It's got, and here's the phone number to call.
You wonder if someone's filing under you there, and that year when the bill was due, they didn't go down and get the refund.
I've got interest charges, I got collection fees, all these things on nothing.
Wow.
But I can't get a hold of anyone.
And that's not you, and that's not your bill.
This is not me. I've never worked there. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe they send it to every Gordon Bruce in the country, hoping somebody pay it.
Well, we know California's broke, right? So, this is maybe a new way of going out.
It's a reverse hack, like the government just sends it out and hopes somebody will pay the bill.
Anyway, can someone from the franchise tax board please give me a call at 1-800, your phone is in the loop?
You had an IRS dealio, right, too?
Yeah, so I think this may be in conjunction with the IRS one. Remember, I had the federal one that was done? So I think there's a tie here between this one and the one.
Nobody's immune.
Anyway, so the point is nobody's immune. You guys got to be watching this stuff all the time. Anyway, so that's kind of where we've been hitting on the security side and what's been happening in the wonderful world.
It doesn't end.
It just doesn't end. So what else has been going on? Now, you're not going to be around again next week, right?
I'm going back to Chicago, where we're looking at some nurse call technology, to bring out here some new, IP-based stuff. So healthcare is one of those industries that's moving too. It's they build very durable things, last 20, 30 years, but when you got to update it.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, we have a client, that we had Lori.
Are you getting taller?
You notice that? This is great. His chair. I love live TV. Now watch over
Well,
the course of this show, Andrew's going to get shorter, right?
That
Or
was
I'm
awesome.
going to get taller.
That was pretty good.
It really is good. We should put hydraulic chairs in here, right? Not tell the guests, and just every once in a while let it go down and then move it up. To see if they even notice.
Don't tell
There's
Garrett we're doing that stuff. He won't come
notice
in.
I'm interrupting and we're going off subject. Yeah, I was in a restaurant in New York that does that at the bar. They have bar stools. Not that I ever go to the bar. They have bar stools. You sit at the bar stool and you're drinking, and especially if you're a new patron, no one's been in there. Over the course of you having your libation, they lower the bar seat, the stool, and at some point you realize, oh, my chin's almost at the bar.
Then they tell you you're done?
They do it so slowly.
Wow.
And the regulars all know about it, right? They do it so slowly you don't realize it. In the course of an hour, you've gone from where you're sitting now and you're
That's
it's like what?
It's
what-
bar
what's
entertainment
happening?
technology.
Oh yeah, so
I like it.
And there you go. Look, they're doing.
Am I going down again?
No, I think we're just playing around with the cameras. Anyway, anyway, coming back to it, so we had Lori Rasmussen on here up at St.
Sure.
Francis, and you talk about old technologies. And Alan, right? And we've had to take old nursing beds and nurse call systems and replenish and refurbish those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're made out of iron; they don't break
Sure.
very often. So it's interesting that you're going to get into this
Yeah,
space.
and this is really more the workflow. You know, it's that idea of I think the nurses being more efficient and also delivering more patient care. So the systems today where they used to have like code blue buttons and code pink buttons and what have you. But today it's like this bed needs to be cleaned, or it's communications amongst the staff as well at the touch of a button, so that there's a workflow process.
Right.
And then that data gets pushed down from all that workflow on that patient down to their medical record. So it's updates. So their patient care is fully sort of
Well, it's memorialized.
What's it called? Yeah, what's it called? Transcribed or whatever.
Yeah, so medical transcription. Oh, they used to report to me too. So that all of those things are happening. I know the system that's up at St. Francis is integrated with the phone system.
Right.
It's the overhead system, the lighting system. All those different things are all integrated because it's all IP based. All the things that are happening there. It's wireless too. I wonder if you could hack into a bed.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, that'd be
the medical. I've been reading more and more about medical device hacks. I mean, that's another area. I mean, just a lot of the devices that have been built have not been built with those sort of protections. People weren't thinking about that when they built them, and now that makes them fairly easy to attack, and hopefully they'll be fairly easy to harden. I mean, I think was it Bert or was Ari said he was optimistic that our technology will start to catch up, and we're going to start to harden up a lot of these problems we have. But today, I just think there are a lot of vulnerabilities out there.
Yeah, that was a question. Last night I was a guest on AM 1080.
Mm-hmm.
John Nolan does a show from 5 to 7 on AM 1080.
Okay.
And so I was on that show yesterday, and one of the questions they were asking about was like cybersecurity and cyber hygiene and the hacks and all those kinds of things. And so it's amazing that people that just don't know what's happening on that side and the wireless stuff and so on.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to we'll see what Garrett's take is on around the university, how the students treat it, if they really care.
Yeah.
We're I think that when you step outside of technology at all, most of the lay people really have no idea. And I put out this information like I do because I think they bring devices home and they get it working like, oh, it works.
Yeah.
And they think they're done.
And
but
then,
you really have to secure these devices today, and a lot of it's just negligence where people aren't taking those steps.
Yeah, I totally
to
agree.
make it harder so that they'll go hack your neighbor and not hack you.
Something else. Anyway, it's that time. I got to go take my Lua break
Right
and so on and go round up Angus. I think I see him over
Angus
there.
is on the
We'll
beach.
go grab Angus and bring him up here. Anyway, we'll take a break and we'll see you back in a sec.
Right on.
Aloha, my name is Miley Scarpino, and I'm the host of the Empower Hour. If you're interested in health, nutrition, fitness, here on the island of Oahu, want to learn more about places to train at or different trainers available, then watch my show on Fridays at 3. We have a great time, and I hope that you'll come join us. Much aloha. Now go get swole.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen. I host Likeable Science on ThinkTech Hawaii. And I do this because I care about science literacy in Hawaii. I want to spread the understanding that science is a vital and interesting part of everyone's life. I want to make sure the broadest possible spectrum of people understand the beauty and the value of science and realize that science plays out each and every day of their lives. I want you to understand that science is fun. So we bring onto this show each week guests who are scientists, from astronomers to zoologists, and we talk about what they do and how they do it. But most importantly, we talk about why you should care about their work, why you should see that their work has value and impact on your life. So I hope you'll join us Fridays, 1 p.m. here on ThinkTech Hawaii. You can watch us via live stream. You can watch us recorded on Olelo, and you can see us each week. We hope you'll join us.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Keith.
My name's Keith Bettinger.
I knew that.
And I'm the host of ThinkTech Asia.
I knew that too.
Here on ThinkTech.
Fabulous. You got a great show going, Keith.
Thank you very much. And for our viewers out there that are interested in ThinkTech Asia, it airs every Tuesday from 4 to 4:45, and it can be accessed online at thinktech.com.
Yeah, so what kind of guests you like?
Well, we have a number of guests from academia, from practitioners of international affairs. Sometimes we have military officials. Sometimes we have public officials on the show. And our goal, we try to talk about current issues in South Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Central Asia, all throughout the Asian realm, in more depth than you would find in traditional mainstream.
That's the
media.
difference, isn't it?
Exactly.
That you're reaching out beyond what ordinary news media would do.
Right.
That's why we like you so much.
We're trying to provide a thinking person's perspective, an intelligent perspective on what's going on, and we're both sides of the story, or even when there's more than two sides, we try to cover every angle. And I think that's one of the big benefits that we provide here at ThinkTech. Is it's a really innovative source of educational programming for the people of Hawaii.
You're great, Keith. You are a great host. You got a great show going on. I watch it every week.
Thanks very much.
Why don't you guys watch it every week too, okay?
4:45 to 4 to 4:45 every Tuesday.
Aloha, my name is Josh Green. I'm a senator from the Big Island. I work in the ER there. But on Tuesday afternoons, I get to come and spend 45 minutes to an hour with Jay Fidel and the ThinkTech staff. They're terrific professionals. They help us to bring some of the leading cutting-edge topics here across our state to you. So you can join us at our show on healthcare in Hawaii to talk with leaders from across all the spectrum of health in our state, or you can join us for any other show where we talk about economic development or tourism, or some really eclectic programs too. So really, we love to see you here on our show. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for supporting us.
Are we live? Right on. Hey, welcome back. I'm Andrew, the security guy. Thanks for joining us on Hibachi Talk. Angus is back from the beach, and let's see what he's got for us today. Angus, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing there, Drew? It's good to see you once again in this week.
Right on,
We've
right
been
on.
having fun out there celebrating with the wee Bruce's birthday this week, but it's been fun. My eyes don't look as bad as his, thank goodness.
He's hard to hang with.
Oh boy, I tell you, at 66, he keeps on ticking. Anyway, Drew, I tell you what, we got some interesting things happening, but I gotta tell you, I did a wee trip to Glasgow the other day there. Just went home to see the family. And when I was there, I went to a wee auction. They were auctioning off a bunch of stuff, and there was this really wealthy American chap there. And he got up in front of everybody and he said, he'd lost his wallet, and it had $10,000 in it. And he said he would pay $150 for anyone that returned it to him. And I said, oh, awesome. I'd love to return that to him. But here's a thought. I'll pay $200 and I'll keep the wallet and I'll be up $9,800. So, but anyway, never happened, never got it. But I had a chance to get, walk away from Scotland a wee bit rich. Anyway, speaking of losing things, I found a new terrific wee piece of technology out there. It's called Tracker. 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 It's a cool thing. You ever lost your keys? Ever lost your wife?
No.
Okay, well, you lose your keys. If you lose your keys, you can put them on your bicycle. You can do all kinds of things. And it's Bluetooth, and it can see you. You can see where you left things and so on. It's really, really cool. What's really neat, though, you can put it on your bicycle. And then if you use GPS modeling, on your bicycle, you can find your bike. If someone steals your bike, you can go find it. It's really a cool kind of thing. It's not too expensive either. They're around about $40 a piece. But if you buy them in bulk, you get them for a discount. you know, West Scots, we like out of discounts.
Right
Anyway,
on.
it's called Tracker, but there's other devices out there like this, but I like this one. This is kind of cool. I think it's the neatest one. So you ought to go check it out online and see if this might suit you. I'm going to stick one on my missus. That way I won't lose her again.
At the mall.
At the mall, yeah. Shopping, spending all my money. Anyway, that's all I got for this week. You guys enjoy yourself, and aloha.
Right on. Thanks, Angus. Hey, so check out Tracker. Check out, I think Tile is another one. They're great devices if you've got, if you have propensity to lose things, or if you just want to know where your things are that you've misplaced. These things, GPS locate them for you, and you can find them. So now we're going to bring in Mr. Garret Yoshimi and find out the ins and outs of UHIT these days. How we doing today, sir?
Great,
Good to see
wonderful.
you.
Thanks.
Right on.
Thanks for having me.
Garret, nice to
Good to
see
see
you.
you.
Nice to see you.
It's been a while.
It's always fun. So we have standard questions that we ask everybody. How you got into the industry and where you went to school and so on. And and I don't even know this. Your case, I don't even know.
School?
Yeah, what school you went to and school. Yeah, no, you're another one like him. No, I should talk. Anyway, so where did you grow up? Where did you go to school?
So grew up local. So local boy, grew up on the windward side of the island, and then did high school or intermediate school, middle school, high school. On this side, Kalani High School. So public school graduate.
Right on.
Did my undergrad at Purdue University. Out there in the middle of Indiana, middle of no place.
Wow.
Up in
Yeah,
my
pretty
part of the
different,
world.
pretty
I
different.
grew up in Kentucky. So
Yeah.
in
So,
Louisville.
so Purdue's right smack in the middle of Indiana, literally right smack in the middle of
Yeah.
Indiana. Flat all the way around. Corn
country.
pigs, and drugs.
What'd you study?
Eli Lilly, electrical engineering.
Oh, Eli,
not
you
that
see
kind
where
of
my mind is going.
So you did an EE at Purdue?
Yeah.
Oh,
yep,
wow, right
yep.
on.
So it's pretty interesting. So I, growing up, it was, I'm going to go, so I want to go to Caltech. I want to be an aeronautical engineer.
Okay.
And this is just
And
stuck in
duct
my
tape
head.
engines.
Stuck in my head, yeah. So that guy is fantastic. I can relate to that stuff.
Yeah.
I hope you weren't the guy inside the plane.
Yeah.
It's just,
Taking the
like, really? Duct tape?
Instructing the.
Whoa, that's pretty awesome. But throughout all the way up until probably my junior year in high school, aeronautical engineering, aero.
Wow.
But somehow it went kind of off track, and then the realities of tuition hits me.
Oh, love it.
So
Love it.
even back then, so Caltech, Caltech, MIT, all those guys, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 a year tuition. This is a long time ago. This is not today's money.
We won't ask when.
Today is 20. Today is 20.
Yeah.
At
Today
least.
is 20th semester.
Yeah. Yeah, 40 a year.
Yeah, right. Sorry, guy.
I'm not having kids, man.
Yeah. That's why we had one.
That's all I have, one too.
And at that point, Purdue was $500, $750
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
a semester.
Wow.
So my first
And
year.
a great school.
It's
even
a
then.
fantastic
It's an engineering school.
Yeah, engineering school, fantastic engineering school, great, both engineering as well as computer science program.
Yeah.
A lot of resources. They had, the schools in particular at that time had some actually really good computing resources. DEC 1170s, before the
Wow.
1170s.
I remember
were
those.
yeah. And it's a long time ago. And we had 8080s.
Okay.
And
I remember
you know,
them as well.
And the
PDPs?
Z80s sliced in the labs.
Wow.
So it was fantastic. It was a great experience. Got out of there as fast as I could.
Yeah.
The winter of my junior year, when we had the snow blowing through and 75 below wind chill.
Oh.
Wow.
Maybe I just kind of want to
Yeah,
finish this
I wanna
and
go back
do some
home.
other stuff. Yeah. But finished that up. Came back here. Got to work. I had done a couple of stints in engineering as summer jobs in between,
Okay.
and then decided that I want to be a programmer. Coming out of school.
Right.
So, coming out of school, I graduated in December, was working by February, computer programming, Fortran and COBOL.
COBOL,
Okay.
for real? Yeah,
COBOL.
RPG,
Yeah,
assembly,
yeah.
you brought those right on. That's where I
yeah,
started.
yeah,
Warms
yeah.
the cockles of my heart.
So,
Wow.
so here's some trivia. I learned COBOL when I was 13.
Wow.
So
I was 30.
you'll remember
Yeah.
the self-paced green and white books from IBM. Get
Yes.
yourself COBOL.
Yep. Oh,
That's
use
me.
use
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Wow.
And I got access to a 360.
Okay.
My dad was doing
The old
some work.
mainframes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To run my jobs and figure out how to use language and get the stuff
Wow.
done. So
So it's not,
Awesome.
back in those days, you had to compile it.
punch
Yeah, we had
cards.
to
Then you had
punch
to
cards.
run it
Yeah,
and
we had
all
to
this
draw our
stuff.
cards.
It wasn't your
Yeah.
instant
No.
program change, program change,
No,
program
no,
change.
no. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
COBOL, first job,
Wow.
actually did it for a while.
Was it
Who were you
banking or,
working-
yeah,
who were you
who was,
working for?
who was?
So I actually went to work for a company called Advanced Business Systems.
Okay.
It was a Pacific Marine subsidiary.
Oh.
So we were doing, early on, some timeshare or hosted medical billing systems.
Sounds like cloud.
Yeah, yeah, well, no, that's back then. We didn't have that word back
I
then.
know.
Cloud was smoke back then. But hosted on a operating system that, let's see, the lawsuit says we can't talk about it. So that was supposed to do transaction processing on 1170. Did a lot of development, some nice prototypes, some nice demos, stuff was shut down a little
Yeah.
before its time.
Yeah.
But then kind of went on to other jobs after that, did some basic programming, some more COBOL programming.
So you've been in this industry a long time.
And was it all here?
And now you,
Yeah, it was all
Oh,
here.
right on.
and now
Yeah,
you've moved into, you've moved into a rather, I would say, substantial and important role at the University of Hawaii. Yes.
Pretty cool.
Now,
Vice
that was a
President-
big leap
Vice
from-
President
from-
of IT,
Very cool work.
CIO,
Yeah.
University of Hawaii. And, David Lasner was, he was Teflon down there, man. He was really good at doing stuff. So you've got some big shoes to fill by going in on that side.
Plus, I get this one, and I actually worked for him for 6.5 years before.
Okay.
Went out back to private industry. My daughter went to school, so I had to pay for school.
Right.
But came back as he ascended to the permanent president. Remember, he was interim for a
Right,
while.
right.
The intention was for him to go back at that point.
Okay.
Then got convinced, and he is the best person for the job at this point in time in the university's history. He's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
He's got very thick skin.
Yes. Well, as
there's
IT,
you
you're
know.
learning in IT.
Yeah,
I tell you, this is
absolutely.
it. In IT, if you don't
Absolutely.
have thick skin, you're not in IT.
So here's the great one. I started in January, and as he normally does in every board meeting, so we sit in, if we have stuff up in the board, we do our thing, but he introduces new officers to the board as they start. So Calvert and I, so the CFO and I both started on the same day in January. January board meeting, introduces us, introduces Calvert, coming over from budget and finance, great background, introduces me, and he says, and hopefully this guy will do better than the guy before.
Which was him.
Which was it?
Oh my God.
What have you got yourself into?
Was that just the expectation for the job that I'm going to get
Didn't
reviewed
happen
by?
in the interview, did it? Right.
Yeah, okay. I'll do what I can, do the best I
Awesome.
can. But it's an awesome job.
Yeah,
It's a fantastic job.
Yeah, so, and what is the role of the CIO at the University of Hawaii? What are your responsibilities over there?
So this is a system level officer that has responsibility over for information technology, as well as how technology supports the business, both inside and outside. And it covers all of the university's system across all 10 campuses, all the various entities that work as part of the university. So we do basically all of the enterprise stuff. So networks, enterprise systems, stuff that touches everybody,
Right.
typically is either developed or supported or brought together out of my shop.
So this would be the financial systems,
Correct.
the student information systems,
Correct. All of the above.
all of the curriculi,
Yes.
all
yes.
of those kinds of things that
Yep.
are in there.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the campuses actually have their own IT organizations, except for Manoa. So this is one thing where ITS, which is my organization, is a little bit different from the rest of the system entities or the system units within the university system. We actually support the system as well as specifically the Manoa campus. All 9 other campuses also have kind of little smaller IT shops within their campus that basically handles everything that's unique to that campus.
So they have their own student tracking system like Kapolani Community College? Or
They have some ancillary systems that work with our enterprise student
Okay.
information system. So remember, we deliver the stuff that goes all the way across, so
Across.
student information, course management, course content, the financial system, we use Koali, which is a community source system.
Okay.
The HR systems, payroll, we actually feed the state guys.
Oh, you feed the state guys?
Yeah,
And
it's
they
like-
got the
they-
the visors
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
still
the
doing it by
green
pen and pencil.
Yeah. So,
Ouch.
you know what? And we support them as best that we can, because frankly, we all work for the same people.
Yeah.
But so all of the enterprise systems are supported out of my shop, and then the kind of the ancillary stuff that's specific to a campus. A campus is local area network stuff, those are handled at the campus.
At the campus level, so they, but are there standards that they're required to
There-
meet across the campuses? Oh, I like that smile on your face.
Kind of.
Meet
Kinda
standards.
sort of.
We do collaborative standard setting.
Okay.
So we suggest,
Yeah.
where we provide services, so network, for example.
Right.
We actually provide network services
Yeah, you
on the
provide
campus. So we're the
high-
ISP.
the bandwidth, yeah, right.
Yeah. So in those cases, it's more of, this is how it's set up, this is how it's structured,
Mm-hmm.
this is for everybody's use. And for standards kind of at the layers below that, we suggest, we help things come together.
Right.
It mostly works, not always works,
Works.
but we try to do it in a way that makes it work for everybody involved.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that's
they have different needs. I've definitely been to several, like, on the security side, on the like, UH, Big Island's different than
Right,
Maui,
that's true, that's
different
true.
than Leeward,
Yeah.
you know, everybody has, and it's
Yeah.
basically what they need, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hold for a second. It's time.
That's it?
No,
15?
we're not finished. We gotta go take a
I
break.
mean, that was fast.
I know, we gotta go pay some bills, you know, this is how we make this thing happen. So we're here with Garret Yoshimi from the University of Hawaii, Andrew, the security guy, and myself, Gordo, the tech czar. Take a break. We'll be back in a minute.
This is Alice Lee Hagan, host of ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My show here at ThinkTech Hawaii is every Thursday from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I bring in interesting guests from Hawaii, the mainland, and hopefully international guests in the future. Do join us on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. Aloha.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. That's Ted Ralston. You know, Ted is the host of Where the Road Leads. It shows every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. It's about technology. It's about how people collaborating and solve problems with modern technology. It's where the road leads. We all know that. We should all be listening. Join us there, 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, what about that do you agree with? All of it. I knew he'd say that. Aloha. Say aloha. Aloha. Good.
Aloha, how you doing? Welcome back to Hibachi Talk. Here with Andrew, the security guy, and our guest, Garret Yoshimi from the University of Hawaii. He's the CIO and Vice President of IT. I'm Gordo, the tech czar. So anyway, before we continue this dialogue, you know, we find these things and stuff in tech, and I love poking fun at ourselves. So the other day there, I was trying to do some printing, and you know, came and I got this error message, which you know, really kind of confused me. So maybe Zuri, you can pop that up. Maybe someone can help me understand what I'm doing
Maybe
wrong.
Garret knows.
Maybe you know. Hey, you're a CIO. I mean, what was I doing wrong when I tried to print on this printer?
Yeah, when your help desk
I said,
gets this call.
It failed to print the document. Printing is not supported on this printer. I mean, so
It's pretty awesome.
I was confused. So I haven't been able to figure out what to do.
Do you still have the printer?
I
I can tell you what I would do with it.
I think it might be a toaster. I'm not real sure what
I
it
think you
is.
sent a print command to something that wasn't a printer.
Okay, and maybe that went and came back.
That's what I'm thinking.
One of my wireless cameras, something like that. Anyway, we found that you just
Nice.
see this stuff around. So anyway, so coming back to the things that you're doing over at the university. So you know, what about things like your outreach stuff and things that are happening in those other spaces?
Yeah, so that's actually really important, and that's a role that you don't think about when you say IT at the university.
Right.
So typically you think IT, okay, infrastructure, the computer stuff, the network stuff, maybe the applications pieces, stuff like help desk labs. So those that's kind of the traditional scape of
Right.
IT. But the thing that we're looking for on a going forward basis, and this is actually really an important piece of David's kind of agenda going forward, and it's really throughout the folks that he's hired over the recent months and years. It's all about reaching out and making sure that not only do we do the stuff that's important for our core operations, but the way that IT works, or the way that IT works for everybody, is it touches everything. It touches everybody. It touches all of our lives, and practically, I don't know about the duct tape guy. Man. But practically everything that we do. So this is also about engaging in innovation. It's engaging in workforce development. So some of the stuff, so for those of you that have kept track of the strategic directions for the University of Hawaii system, so these are the kind of the top-down things that we need to align with as technologists within the university. It's all about our graduation initiative. Oh, man, initiatives.
Right.
I wasn't with you last night
I
at
know.
the birthday thing. But workforce development, innovation, research, you know, there's a lot of things that are kind of non-traditional when it comes to IT.
Well, and you know, we talk to you guys a lot, we being the private sector, because everybody's struggling to find talent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really tough.
Sure,
So
we're
that's
counting on to build it. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, for sure.
And that's a perfect example. So for IT talent development, the pipeline, you know, so we talked about it a lot, both before as well as after I started here at the university, in terms of, well, what's the expectation? What's the need? Where are the institutions falling short in terms of what we deliver as our product to industry?
Right.
And I've had this conversation from both sides of the fence. I've had it from inside as well as outside. You know, so, and for those of you that don't know, I have a longer resume than almost anybody in the room.
Yeah.
But, you know, it
You
is.
can't hold a job very long.
Yeah, you know, that's the way it goes, man. And to David's credit, so the longest one,
Yeah.
6.5 years,
It was
right on
was
the day.
his.
Oh, there you
It was
go.
his. I came back. But the whole thing about pipeline and workforce development is all about making sure that we are aligned as kind of the providers, the supply side of the equation.
Yeah.
That we are aligned in terms of being able to develop the right kind of workforce, the workforce that is that fits the requirements of the community that it serves. And we do other stuff. We do research. We do kind of the 2 years and the 4 years have a slightly different agenda in terms of the
Right.
stuff they put together. But it's also about aligning the university's resources internally and creating the pathways for those that come into the 2-year institutions that want to get some solid training and go straight into the workforce,
Right.
because that's what they need to do.
And that's what they do. And,
Right.
and I compare that with the trades, with a
Right.
tradesperson, right?
Right.
Some people are not oriented to get a degree. I was in my 50s before I got mine, so I'll give you a sense for that.
Oh, just
So-
recently.
Just recently, I know. And so, you know, you're just not there. But then you end
Right.
up, you take the shorter route, and you're like, you become a tradesperson.
Right.
But you become a tradesperson in tech.
Right.
You know, you get all the certs, whether you're Microsoft, Cisco, name whatever ones they are.
When there are people that do that,
And
they're
they just
focused specifically on getting you into the job
On getting
market.
that, and getting you into the job market, you get great paying jobs, and then maybe later on, if you want to augment your
Right.
education to get that degree, that you can do that. And so, but so the challenge that you have at the university, I think, is that how do you keep your programs current?
Right.
You know, teaching COBOL, if you're still teaching COBOL, which, you know what, KCC still does.
Actually,
Which is
you know
not-
what?
They teach COBOL?
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
but there's a
that's
reason
right.
for it.
Well-
The reason they're not teaching COBOL, they're teaching COBOL so that you can understand, you know, the logic
stuff.
and the reasoning and stuff and how it all works. So, and the kids hate it. They just hate it. But
Right.
I mean, it's just, but it gives you that logic, you know, setting up the databases, all this kind of stuff.
Identification division, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. remember that?
Oh, you
So
remember
it's cool.
nested loops? Remember when all
yeah.
basic,
Oh, loop.
remember when basic was great?
Oh, it was cool. So your challenge is good. How do you get the various schools that have tech programs in there to stay current? Because your accreditation is involved.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Yep, and that's a big deal for us too. So I'll take just one more narrow example, cybersecurity. So
Okay.
it's a huge area for us right now. There's, we've heard numbers that are in the thousands, and this is local, this is here, thousands of jobs unfilled in cybersecurity because we don't have enough, or not,
Yep.
we don't have enough qualified people in the pool to take those jobs on. And that number's only growing. You know, so, and it's one specific area. It's not IT in general. It's
Right.
not technology in
Got your
general.
network
It's
guys, it's
specific to
IT programmers.
cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So, you know, for us, we've taken that on in a couple of ways. We're looking at coordinating across the system. So we have, you know, so we have 10 different institutions, and we have a number of different degree programs, certificate programs, and efforts going on in places like engineering, in places like even our Charlotte School of Business, but also in the community colleges. HCC has Honolulu Community College has a pretty interesting specialization in the area. The PCAT guys
Yeah,
that
the
work
PCAT,
out at
right,
HCC,
guys,
a
yep.
lot of training in that area. Our West Oahu guys actually have both a certificate and a degree program focused in this particular area. So our task is to help bring that together, make sure that the folks that are doing curriculum have input from the folks that are looking for skills and qualifications in the employment area. So we're making those connections. We're also looking at taking the degree programs coming out of our 2-year institutions and making sure they have pathways, student pathways into the 4 years for the ones that want to keep going with their education. There are some that, you know what, I got my cert, I got my qualifications, I want a job.
And I've got an $80,000 a year job
Yeah.
waiting for me on the outside right
Exactly.
now that I can go into. Anywhere
Exactly.
between $70,000 and $80,000
Exactly.
and you're in there.
And you know what, a lot of those people also, once you're in, they will help you with your education after that. Because there is value to completing that 4-year degree
Right.
and moving on past that. And sometimes when you're in the weeds and you're in college, I just got to get a job.
Yep.
You know, and that's very important. It's important for me. It's important for my family. I want to continue to do what I need to do.
Right.
But then at some point in time, to keep growing, to get past that initial trades level,
Right.
you got to get the other part of the training and kind of round out the education process to make
Right.
that of greater value so that you can move up. in the
And
organization.
that's the one that helps you then move up the corporate ladder.
Right.
If you want to get into
Right.
the management positions, become
Right.
the CIOs,
Right.
become the VPs and so on. So there's a good message out here for those who are watching. There are thousands of jobs in tech available for you. Just look for them and just find the right courses. You can do the 2-4s. I mean, just those kinds of things. If you want to get in there, get some of the basic stuff, find a very good job, start, start, take a lower pay one at a lower position. You will move up the ladder if you've got the talent.
Even even in high school now. So high school internships,
Right.
not just college internships, but high school internships are starting to open up in our field here, not just on the mainland,
Yep.
here. And they provide excellent ways to leverage the stuff you're doing in school.
Yep.
Get a leg up on everybody else because
Yep.
you're going to have not only the education side, but you get the practical experience. And folks are taking these internships very seriously from the employer perspective.
We're doing it.
Hugely seriously now.
I have one now.
And again,
Yep.
not just college people, but high school guys, because a lot of them have the interest.
Right.
They have the ability to do this stuff. You know, they need to get into the field, and what better way than to leverage some of that early experience to help you move up the ladder?
Yeah, we remember Sarah with the 14, 15-year-old girl that we
Right.
had in here. She's starting as an intern with us in a couple weeks, right
Excellent.
out of high school.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, because she wants to go to MIT. I mean, this kid wants to go to MIT, and she's got the smarts for it anyway. So, I mean, but we're going to give her experience on the business side. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like you said, though. So the high school opportunities are right there, too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, and it's not stuff that we would have done, well, that long ago. It was, sorry, but
We never had those chances that long
yeah,
ago.
you know what? We didn't, and if we did, shame on us if we didn't take
I
advantage.
know,
of
I
it,
worked
because
construction in the summer.
they're right in front of us, you know, and the skills that they get. And these internships are not the go get me coffee, go make these
Right.
copies. You
Oh,
know,
no, they're
so
working.
these are
No.
real jobs. These
Yep.
are real jobs that pay, and most of them actually pay decent wage.
Yep.
So we're following the lead of the folks in this industry on the mainland,
Yep.
where, you know, so the interns for kind of the big guys on
Yep.
the mainland, they make good money.
They make good money. They
Good
make
money over the summer, and they get good experience in the job.
Well, you're not going to believe this, but we have burned through another lunch hour.
Dang.
In the matter of
We'll have to have Garret back.
It's got to have you back.
He's got a lot more
So,
going on.
A lot going on. So, but anyway, all of our guests get a autographed solo cup from Hibachi Talk. These are worth
There's 25.
Priceless.
There's 25 of them in the world. Maybe
Priceless.
26.
Yeah, you're
I
one
don't
of the
know.
early ones. We should start numbering them.
Yeah, serious.
We never thought of that. So anyway, so this is for you for coming on the show.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
With that big salary you're getting, you need all the help
You know, I
you
need,
can get.
actually, I need to keep that.
Yeah, you'll need to
Thanks,
keep that.
appreciate
But
it.
Garret, thanks a lot. And then thanks again for coming and joining us and watching this program. We try to educate you and get you interested in tech. It's a great field. I can't tell you how much I love it. Anyway, thanks again for joining us, and how are you doing?